What's up guys, so I'm going to show you how you can create this effect 100% in Premiere Pro with no After Effects needed. It's actually really simple and straightforward, and it's made so much easier now that Adobe now has AI object rotoscoping in Premiere Pro. So we'll be using that today, and if you don't know who I am, my name's Josh. I run a media production company, and I also make presets that help editors just like yourself speed up your workflow and get things done a lot faster and still make your stuff look even more professional, all in Premiere Pro. So make sure you go check that out. At the moment, we're having a sale, but if you want an extra $5 off your first order, make sure you use editors5 at checkout. If you haven't liked and subscribed, make sure you do so now, and let's get straight into the video. So I got these two clips from the music video Just Say That by Gunna, and I want to transition from one shot to the other. So to create this effect, first, we're going to take advantage of Adobe's new AI rotoscope. So the only way to access it at the moment, right now of making this video, is that you need to have the beta version of Premiere Pro. And the way to do that is if you open up your Creative Cloud, you can see this apps tab, and then across the top here we can see all these different tabs. We can see the beta tab. If we go to that and just download the Premiere Pro beta, once you download that, as we can see here, we've got our first two shots. We're going to start with this first shot real quick, and if you come down here, we can see that we have this object mask tool. So as we can see, we just got to select what we want to highlight. So I'm going to actually go to the start of this clip. I'm just going to select them, and we're going to see that does a really good job already of highlighting him, but we can see that it's missing some parts of him. So if we come down to this tab here and we go to our lasso tool instead of the rectangle tool, and then make sure we're on plus, or if you're not on plus and you don't want to go back and forwards all the time, you can hold Alt. That will go between the two of them. So with the plus selected, we're just going to select the section that it missed out on. And as you can see, it did a pretty good job there. So we're just going to select as all the parts that we're going to select, that we want to select. And once it's kind of got a good idea of it, as we can see, if we scrub through it, it's not going to do its thing. So what we've got to do now is, with it still selected, we'll go up to our effects controls, and you can see here we have these tracker points, right? So while being on the start of our frame, like our first frame here, I'm just going to track it forwards, and as you can see, it's going to do its job. And as you can also see, it did a really good job at doing what it needed to do. So that's basically perfect. I don't really need to change anything with that. If it doesn't work, you can just go through, find the frame that messed up, and then just select the parts you want to select again, and then retrack it. Once you've got the track all good to go, ready, and you're happy with it, you just got to grab it, drag it down into the opacity down here, and then it applies that mask. Yeah, as you can see, we have a mask just like that, which is incredible. So I want to fix up these edges a little bit. The way to do that is just go to the feather here. I'm just going to go 15, just to soften up some of these edges. We can see that's pretty good right there. So now I'm just going to I'm going to hold Shift, select my clip. I'm going to hold Shift Alt, and I'm going to drag up, which will just duplicate our clip, and then Shift, make sure it lines up perfectly. So as you can see here, if I press Shift, it snaps back to the vertical correct position of whatever clip we had. So I'm just going to go to our bottom clip real quick, and I'm just going to delete this object mask. So now that we can see here, we have the mask, and then we have just the normal one. I'm going to drag this up one more time. So I'm going to quickly add an adjustment layer and drag that in. We'll scale it to our clip size. I'm going to cut this up into two segments. So it depends on the length of your clip. It honestly depends on how fast you want this effect to go. So for example, I'm going to go about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 frames. And I'll put a cut there. And here, I'll give you a good example on why as well. So if I don't put a cut there and I go to my packs, if you don't have my packs installed, I recommend going to get it. It's 50% off at the moment. But if you don't have my packs installed, then I'm going to show you how to do it without my pack. But I'm going to quickly show you with this because it's just insanely quick, and it's way too good to not show how quick you can get it done. So I'm going to open up my pack and I'm going to go to my swipes, and I'm going to go swipe up. And if I apply this, we can see that we have the effect, but it just is a little too slow in my opinion. I want it to go quite fast, right? So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to add a cut, because with this preset, it adjusts to the scale. So the longer the adjustment layer is, the slower it's going to roll. So I'm going to cut it in half so that it keeps a faster speed. And because it's moving so fast, you're not going to tell a difference between the two clips. So as you can see, and that's pretty much how you do that clip. There's actually a little bit of a complicated effect, as we can see here. I'm going to show you. We can see that when I drag it in, it has all these layers. If you don't have the packs, this is how you do the effect. So first, I'm going to go to my effects, and I'm going to bring in a replicate node. As we can see, we've got multiple of him going at the moment. I'm going to change this number to 3, so we can see we have 3 of them here. Then I'm going to go and add in a mirror. So I'm just going to change this first number to 1041.3, then change the angle to 180. Then I'm going to add in another mirror. So I'm just going to copy and paste this mirror. So we have another one here, 2066.4. And then I'm going to change this back to 0. So now we can see we have this going on. And then I'm going to go and add in a transform. I'm going to change the scale to 300. I'm going to also change the shutter angle to 300. And then for our positioning, I'm going to add a keyframe. And I'm going to drag this all the way up. And then I'm going to bring it forwards. And then I'm going to drag it all the way to the bottom here. So now we can see we're kind of getting that effect now, right? And then lastly, we could stop here, but we can see that the motion blur doesn't really look the best. So the way we're going to fix that is just adding a directional blur. Yes, we're going to add in a directional blur. I'm going to change it to 180. And we can see that when we do it, you can kind of add in as much as you want, depending on how much blur you want, because I feel like the more blur you add, obviously the faster it's going to feel. So we want to now do about 70. So we can see here. So now if I duplicate this effect, right, we can see now we've created this cool effect going on. So now I'm going to add in another adjustment layer, right, just to solidify that hit. We're going to go to shake. I want to kind of add in like a little bit of a hit so that it kind of solidifies the impact. So it's like boom, right? What we could do is we could do either a shake transition or flash. Let's go for a flash transition. So let's go flash transition real quick. So it's like a bam. So as we can see here now, we have this really cool effect happening. But yeah, that's the effect. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later.